So this is, I mean, talk about sequels, right? Elon Musk,
Yeah.
he had a bunch of advertisers boycott X, Twitter. Now he's going to be suing them.
Yep.
And he took to Twitter to announce this as well. He's been very spicy on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it nowadays. Kind of refuse to call it X, but still. So this dropped pretty quickly, to be fair. This is wrong anyway. Elon Musk didn't tell advertisers. I know. Did he say go F yourself, or was it Disney? I thought he said
No,
to
just
Disney.
Bob.
Well, I thought it was anybody.
Bob, yeah.
Anybody who is trying to hold him hostage for money.
Yeah, I think. Well, yeah, that's true. That's true.
Oh no, he did address Bob in that speech. Yeah, no,
but he did.
Right.
It kind of seemed like it was directed more towards Bob. But yeah.
Oh, sure, yeah. Surely. Yeah.
So anyway, let's get into the sort of backstory about this. So Elon Musk told advertisers to go F yourself last fall at the DealBook Summit. And today he's suing them for allegedly colluding to boycott his social media platform X. So the lawsuit brought by X in federal court in Texas names the World Federation of Advertisers as well as individual companies, Mars, CVS, Unilever, and Ørsted, a Danish clean energy firm. Many corporations bailed when allegedly racist and anti-Semitic content seemed to explode on Twitter after Musk acquired it in the fall of 2022. They've remained wary, and Musk himself has amplified allegedly controversial posts. That controversy is subjective. So if you got, the constitution of a wet lettuce, I mean, everything's controversial. Let's be honest here. The suit doesn't claim advertisers can't boycott, but that they can't decide together to do it, which, I mean, that is collusion, isn't it? It kind of, it makes sense. Yeah. So here's some of the statement from it. Defendants conspired, along with dozens of non-defendant co-conspirators, to collectively withhold billions of dollars in advertising revenue from Twitter, now X, reads the lawsuit. Concerned that Twitter might deviate from certain brand safety standards for advertising on social media platforms set through GARM.
Who he's also suing.
The conspirators collectively acted to enforce Twitter's adherence to those standards through the boycott. So GARM is the Global Alliance for Responsible Media. This is an antitrust action relating to a group boycott by competing advertisers of one of the most popular social media platforms in the United States. GARM's members did abruptly and in lockstep boycott Twitter by discontinuing entirely or substantially reducing their previously substantial advertising purchases. Calling it a conspiracy and collusion, which it is. Like it's very difficult to argue that it's not. So the company's asking for a jury trial with, was that trebled compensatory damages, as well as injunctive relief, saying there is still boycott, which again, I'm sure there is. X said its brand safety standards are comparable to those of its competitors and meet or exceed GARM's parameters, but also that each social media platform should be free to set its own brand standards. It believes that the free market would see platforms with inefficient standards lag behind. Whether or not you buy that, the issue in the suit is collective action among competing advertisers to dictate brand safety standards to be applied by social media platforms. The brand safety standards set by GARM should succeed or fail in the marketplace on their own merits and not through the coercive exercise of market power by advertisers acting collectively to promote their own economic interests through commercial restraints at the expense of social media platforms and their users. It's actually really difficult to argue any of this stuff. So shall we get some thoughts on this first before we keep going with some of this article?
Normally you would be correct that it would be something that would be difficult for them to argue. The next paragraph that you are about to read is the one that explains how it's very easy for them now to prove that this is going on, and that GARM, which controls 90 cents of every dollar in advertising on any platform.
Oh, no, I meant very difficult to argue against it, is what I meant. Like,
yes. No. I was going to say.
Oh, yeah, no, this isn't happening.
Yeah, I misunderstood which party you were saying. Yeah. No, but it'll be very, very easy for them to argue. Anyway, the whole point being is GARM really does control the 90 cents of every dollar in advertising. So they're absolutely made up of the worst people. It literally is a cabal. It's one of the reasons why the stinger says cabal.
Mm-hmm. So. Now, do you think the timing of this is timed because we just got the ruling against Google?
I think it's perfectly timed. Well, it was going to come no matter what.
Google. I think it's to do with a whole host of things, to be fair.
Sure,
but Elon Musk is public enemy number one at the moment.
Well, but he's taken the fight to them and publicly, which they don't want. The last thing in the world is the companies want is exposure like this for colluding together. Because I mean, in this country, it's illegal AF. I mean, a lot of this activity that's been going on is illegal AF. So yeah, you have restraint of trade. You have like 1,000 different arguments you can go through on this. So
I mean, it's not just that. I mean, it's really just it's sleazy, and I mean, you're dictating the market. The advertisers are dictating the standards of which a platform must adhere to. I mean, it's just nonsense, like absolute nonsense. You know, a platform sets its own standards, and if advertisers want to advertise on that platform, they can or they don't. I mean, it's really that simple, isn't it? But they want to dictate to Elon Musk the standards at which the platform holds because it's the biggest platform. So that's why, surely. That makes sense to me.
Yeah. No, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I mean, this had to have been kind of somewhat set in motion, I guess, before that ruling, perhaps, but I mean, I just think it's kind of funky. They just happened about this last week here where they got the ruling against Google, or just the other day or whatever. Well,
I guess maybe it's compounding, isn't it? I guess, to be fair.
Well, it's definitely helps in their favor, perhaps.
Yeah. Well, what do you think, Bo?
Well, you talk about Cabal. It sounds like a perfect definition of it, really. I just wonder if there's any, I suppose there isn't, otherwise it would have happened by now, if there's not sort of any anti-monopoly laws need to be looked at. Why is this GARM so powerful? Aren't there sort of, anti-monopoly laws to stop one organization like that from being so dominant?
Yeah, antitrust laws here have not been really being enforced since the Democrats got
basically... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, it's okay.
I was just say basically all X need is to have one advertiser say, yeah, we pulled our advertising because Disney did.
Yeah.
Or somebody else, and then boom, basically he wins the case.
Yeah, but they don't even have to do that. In a judiciary committee investigation, they basically already found that GARM
there's
is
evidence
organized.
Enough for it.
Yeah. So look, this is something that should have been already through the DOJ a year ago. And if under a properly run, non-politically run justice system, we would have this already resolved.
That's the problem we have right now. And, we were talking a little bit before the show, and we were kind of joking halfly at the beginning of the show about some of this stuff. But yeah, this is where things are kind of popping off. There's a system right now in place where it feels like rules for thee and not for me, or vice versa, when it comes to certain people and certain individuals on certain sides of certain fences getting actual justice, right? Now we've seen some minor things here and there that manage to squeak through because there's no way they can, make it so without it being obvious. I mean, I'm trying to be a little more cryptic here about certain things, not to get too political or to get Mr. H in trouble. But
I mean, we get a little bit political, but I mean, look, at the end of the day, X is the largest platform. All world leaders are addicted to X. They 100% are addicted to X. All media are addicted to X. They want to control X. They want to control Twitter because they want to control the narrative. Now we're seeing,
and they used to, right
now, because exactly, they did used to, and then they threatened people, hey, just get your own platform. And so, hey, Elon Musk went and bought it. But this is the thing: it's the largest platform. It is the biggest town square, a global town square where people can interact, people can freely share information, as well as, of course, false. I hate the word misinformation, all that garbage. But yeah, sure, like false information can flourish. Of course it can. But they want to control it because there is party narratives. There is party lines. There are very clear-cut narratives which plenty of institutions and cabals wish to push, be it, a media cabal, be it governmental parties. If it wasn't for Twitter, just for argument's sake at the moment, there is no way in hell we would know from the British media that there are roaming gangs of South Asian men in the UK with massive machetes. You just wouldn't know it. You wouldn't know it. It would just be all far-right white people. You wouldn't know it. You absolutely would not know it if it wasn't for Twitter, because the media is towing the party line, Labour's party line, right? It is akin to Russia. It's insane. And I know people would be like, "Oh, that's a bit extreme." No, it legitimately is. Legitimately is.
Yeah,
It's very, very similar to Russia in terms of how they're controlling everything.
I would say
And just don't believe the fact.
X or Twitter, I prefer just to keep calling it Twitter, is sort of a fairly amazing thing under Elon. I did a tweet the other day saying they told us that the revolution will not be televised. You guys are old enough to remember that, right? The revolution will not be televised. I said, well, no, but it'll be live streamed on Twitter. So yeah, if you want to know about the revolution or revolutions around the world, yeah, you need to go on Substack and read about it, or go on Twitter and see it with your own eyeballs. Yeah, so once it was bought by Elon, it became a brilliant thing. I mean, it's like one giant Royal Rumble. I love it. I love it. Some days you get pwned, and some days you pwn other people. It's pretty brutal, and I like it. But one thing I'd say about Elon in general is he's come out with a couple of opinions, a couple of things he said that I've seen, which I sort of very don't agree with. But 95%, I'm an Elon fanboy. I even wrote a semi-comical article for Lotus Eaters, just like calling him King Elon, the first of his name, and that he saved every one of us, like Flash Gordon. So I'm on board with Elon. I love loads of things he does. The fact that he might take us to the moon or even Mars, I mean, amazing. He's someone that will go down in history books in a few generations, if not centuries from now. You'll still hear about what Elon did or didn't do during the 21st century. I honestly do think that. And when he said stuff like, and he's the definition of got that FU money, right? So actually, that clip where he's saying, he says, go fuck yourselves. Did you hear that, Bob? I mean, that is just gold dust. That's just brilliant. That's just like a daydream to me that I was ever in a position to do something like that, right? So I suspect that even if he had to bloody sell Tesla or something, he could fund X without any advertising.
Well,
or now you have to pay, don't you? We don't have to, but if you want a blue check mark, you can pay.
But no, he's actually kind of. Sorry, I just want to say he's kind of let it be known that he's not going to sink too much of his own funding into this, because like when he was asked about that, when he said to go fund yourself, he said flat out, he's like, it will fail because these advertisers decided to boycott, and everybody will know it, and that's why it will have failed. And so basically, that was his way of saying he would let it die, but then he would just go after them afterwards. And this is kind of the same move as that, I guess, in the end.
Well, except that not really. I mean, he doesn't have to go after them. They are right now. They are setting records for the amount of engagement they're getting on the.
I was going to say it's not good. He knew it wasn't going to die with the amount of subscriptions and stuff that it has. And look, I mean, I'm sure all of us on here probably pay for their X account, but guess what? If you're somebody like us who actually gets good engagements, you get paid. So the money that gets put in, I get paid out like 2 or 3 times as much as I pay in every month. I don't know about you guys, but I mean, it's like basically works out like that. So it's like,
I mean, I've paid for my Twitter, and it is already paid for itself.
Exactly. So, like I'm way ahead. Yeah.
I actually don't. I probably will at some point, but it's stupid, honestly, really.
The amount of tweets you post and the amount of engagement you get.
You should be monetized.
I do enjoy a nice bit of engagement, but it's stupid, really.
Because you get a piece of the advertising that gets put on there and stuff like that.
I still only got 10 or 11,000 followers. I don't think I actually reached the threshold to be monetized.
Yeah.
You need something like
you have, because I don't even have that many. It's more or less, you should
impressions,
be
engagement.
Yeah.
They raised the threshold like a couple of months ago, though.
Oh wow!
So you need like a few million impressions or views over 3 months.
But it's over a period of 3 months. So
you can
the amount you tweet and the amount of engagement you get on your spicy tweets, you'd get.
I will say this much: of all the social media I have used in my life, and I'm not a fan of it. In fact, I don't think anybody, if you're somebody who's not already on social media, I wouldn't get on there. But I have to use it for things like this because we've had to we got a Facebook group, we've got all this other stuff. I hate Facebook. The only reason I use it is just to communicate still, and because of that Facebook group, basically. That's it. That's the only way I have communication with certain friends and family members and such. So, because people change, phone numbers nowadays like they do their underwear. So like, that's the only way I can keep in contact with certain people. That's the only reason I keep it. Same thing, like I'm so resistant to like Instagram and TikTok, and like a lot of people are saying, get on there, and I'm on there, but I don't really engage on there. X is the one place where I feel like I can say just about anything I want, and nobody's going to come after me. Like the worst that happens is if I use some word that they consider, whatever, that it'll be a limited tweet where people can not only, limited amount of people will see it. That's it. I've only been bumped maybe once or twice since Elon's taken over, and I've won my appeals both times.
I keep getting locked out all the time. It's very frustrating. But just to get back
appeal
on topic
it though?
ever so slightly. No, because I've just I've appealed it and the ban stays. But let's get back on topic just a little bit.
Sorry.
How effective do we think this lawsuit will be? Do we think that this will have a pretty big impact or not? What's the
do we know where it's being tried? Because that usually matters quite a lot in America.
He filed in Texas.
Texas, okay.
There you go.
His home state, and they actually believe in justice in Texas, which is a weird concept. So yeah.
One thing I would say about that is, you've got your Department of Justice, and it's Merrick Garland, isn't it? Meritless Garland is at the top of that, and he is. Hopefully in England the FBI won't come after me. He's a corrupt.
Oh, he's corrupt.
Piece of shit, isn't he? So you never know what he might do, how he might deal with it. But hopefully, I think if Elon or Twitter gets a fair trial, it seems like a slam dunk. But you never know, do you? Really?
No. But I feel like there's enough evidence that came out of this Judiciary Committee hearing and everything else that it's impossible for them to refute. Not to mention, there's also some evidence of them doing it and of them saying it. So there's a lot of problems here that I don't think they can refute it. I think the best thing to do for all of them is to say, okay, we're sorry, Elon, we'll be back to advertising with you, and we aren't going to hold you to these ridiculous standards. Because, like I said, if they dig in, this won't go anywhere, quickly. And when it goes the wrong way, the financial amount here, what was the trebled damages was the statement made
trebled,
there? There's massive amounts of money that could change hands. And then it's like, do you really want to give Elon more money? I mean, seriously, just give him his advertising, let him have his little social media platform, the one that everybody pays attention to.
Starling, that's what I want him to do, which he's been doing lately. All right, perfect. Well, anything to add, or shall we?
Just one last thing. I always thought that even the name Elon Musk, it's almost like a fictional name out of a novel or something. Like, Zaphod Beeblebrox or something. It's
he is kind of like our own Tony Stark in a way. I mean, he's just like an iron suit away from.
Yeah. Well, you know what? He might actually have one. You don't know.
Yeah, we don't know.
Right.
I'm like,
he's just testing it still.
He probably has repulsor tech. You know what I mean? It's like this guy probably has.
Like as soon as I figure out how not to burn my face off, we're going to do this.
Yeah, well, he's already got a robot army coming together, and then on top of it all, I mean, we already know that he's building, more advanced things than we can possibly understand. I tell you what, I would love an Iron Man suit. I'd buy one in a heartbeat. But no, do you know his mom was a supermodel?
I did not know that.
His dad was a wackadoodle, but his mom was a supermodel. She still models, and she's like 1,000 years old. So, yeah, I follow her on Twitter.
Gross, but all right. Okay. Anyway, let's move on.
She's a good follower.